So welcome to our Saturday webinars brought to you by InvestorAi. I'm Shruti Bopaya and I head customer engagement and communications. I have with me today Akshaya Bhargava, our chairman and founder. And I also have with me Bruce Keith, our CEO. Both of them join us from London. It's 8 a.m., very early, but every Saturday morning they're here. And then this is what we do, of course, with India. It's every Saturday afternoon. We're here at 12:30. Sarthak Behura, our product head, he's here as well. So today's topic on how we can select good stocks is a very interesting one, because last week we had a topic around the first time investor, and we saw great interest, and people wrote back to us and said, that's great, now I know what to do, but what next? And some of us also asked, told us that, okay, now I also, have the InvestorAi app, but, could you help me, go about, how to look for these stocks? So we thought, let's also talk about the theory about how to select good stocks, but at the same time, how you could actually use it on a platform, and then of course go ahead and trade and put some money in. So that's why we're here today. So just some rules. The chat is open and will be, we'd like your questions to come in. We have our team here who will keep responding to the ones that we can do while the chat is, or the session is on. But the rest of the questions, we will take them right at the end. And right now I'd like to ask Akshay to come in and take over to talk about this session. So Akshay, over to you.
Thank you, Shruti, and welcome everyone. It's 12:30 and InvestorAi Academy on Saturday afternoon. Very happy to see all of you, particularly happy to see some very familiar names. So really appreciate all of you joining us, for a second or third webinar in your case. Now, some of you have seen me do this before, so I'm going to start with a couple of questions. And these are really intended to give me a guide of what sort of audience we have today, so I can, tailor some of my explanations. So the first question is, how long have you been investing? And you're going to see a question that come up. Please answer.
Okay, very interesting today, Akshay. We're at a we've got
really interesting. Normally, I will tell you, we get about 51% who are less than 1 year. This time the highest group is 3+ years. So we have a bunch of experienced investors. That is really, really interesting. And thank you all for joining us. The second question I want to ask you is, have you been using InvestorAi to find, look for your investments and things? Do you currently use InvestorAi? See, that's also excellent, because what this is telling me is, sorry, I don't know why it's moving, I'm jumping around. Excellent. Yes. So we have a bunch of people, most people have used it. Some people haven't used it before. So, okay. Thank you, Prabal. You can take this off. So today's topic is how to find good stocks to invest in. And this is not an easy subject. If you go, so what is a good stock? And you get as many answers as you ask questions. So is it strong fundamentals? Is it sectoral leader? Is it inspirational leadership? Is it Sunrise Industries? Is it a well-known name? Is it a growth industry? It is not easy at all. There are many answers to this. Okay. And you can choose your own. And, that's why it's very confusing. It's very good, easy to say Reliance is a great stock, or Telco is a great stock, or, but how do you find it? How do you define it? And everybody has their own definitions. So my definition, very simply put, is there are three things you must look for. One is good fundamentals. So is it, are the, financials of the company strong? Are the metrics strong? Are the, all the variables that are available for analysis, are they good? The second part has nothing to do with the company. It is a question of whether you understand the company or not. Do you understand the industry? Do you know how the company what the company does? Do you understand how it makes money? So good understanding is as important as good fundamentals. I'll give you my own example. There was a recent IPO called Coinbase, which you must have heard about. I knew nothing. I still know nothing about cryptocurrencies. I did a lot of research trying to understand, you look karte kya hai, paise kahan se banate? And finally, I began to get some explanations, but I don't think I have a good understanding at the moment. So, so there are things that will interest you. There are things that will be very topical, but you have to understand yourself, because your own understanding is the single biggest, the most important thing. And the third thing is good timing. Okay. And when all these three things come together, then go for it. What are you waiting for? If it's a good stock, fundamentals are good, you know it well, and it is good timing, then stop watching this presentation. Go act. Okay. It's time for action. So, but these three things very rarely come together. And when they come together, you may or may not even know about it. That is quite often the problem. So, how do we start? It is very simple to say, find good companies, get comfortable with what they do, wait for the right time, and then buy, and then wait for the right time and sell. Very easy to say, very, very hard to do in practice. Okay. So while there is some element of, principles here, first principles, there is also an element of practice. And that is why we came up with InvestorAI. A lot of you are already users. So you will know what it can do. And I will spend a few minutes just showing you some of the functionality, including a really cool feature that we launched day before yesterday. So you may or may not have seen it. So, but it's a really, really cool thing. So just wait for it. I I will also invite one of our, really, really important users to come on video and tell us how he is using it. So this is a bit of a surprise, and we are really happy to have him with us, and I will tell you a little bit more about it. Okay, but the thing to remember, and this is something I have said before, that the superpower for investing is you and AI. You represent yourself, we give you the AI element, and two together become a superpower. This is like the Iron Man suit. You need Robert Downey Jr., okay, and you need the suit. The suit itself does not fly. Actually, it does in Iron Man 3, but never mind. Okay, but the suit itself does not fly. You have to be in it, and only then you can do, superpower things. So, it's a combination of technology and human intellect that really makes everything really, really powerful. What do I mean with it? So there are three, these are three, some of our really very high prediction algos, very high, accuracy algos. There's one called value investing. And if you've been using InvestorAI, you'll be familiar with it. There is Alpha 330 that targets 3% return in 30 days. And this is something that's running at 70, 80% accuracy at times. By the way, value investing is running at 91% accuracy right now. So it's doing really well. And there is swing trades that targets 2% return in 3 days. It's really, really short term. And all these will help you find individual stocks that qualify, that meet these variables. And these are high alpha algos that really operate at incredible levels of accuracy. I'm not going to go into any of these algos today. That is not the purpose of today's session. But I will show you how to sort of navigate your way around InvestorAI if you haven't already worked it out. So with that, sorry, just one second. So just a word, some people have asked me, how do these algos work? What data do they use? So let me just spend 2 minutes on that subject. So everything you see in InvestorAI is a machine learning model that uses some of the best data sources in the world. And we don't use a single data source, we use many of them. We use Bloomberg, we use Thomson Reuters, which is called Refinitiv now, we use index data, we use a ton of data from various places. Okay, and we combine it together. So for every stock, we have 600 pieces of data of both technical and fundamental. And we have this for every security, for every market, every day. And then we compute all the algorithms fresh every day. Now you will notice that currently we don't give you real-time prices, we give you end-of-day prices. But that will change over time. But essentially there is an enormous amount of computing power at your disposal. And that has happened when we present these things to you. And what do these algos do? They're aimed at identifying breakout ideas with the highest levels of accuracy you can find. That is the purpose. And then after that, whether you buy it or you don't buy it, that is entirely up to you. We never give you advice. We never tell you what to do. We never substitute your own judgment. And if you feel you are at a point where you actually don't know what to do, then don't do anything. Okay, that would be my advice. Well, having said that, we don't give you advice. I just gave you a piece of advice. So sorry for that. But let me go into the app itself and then show you some of the things that I am talking about. So I'm now going to share my screen.
You can also put in your questions as we go into the app. We have people on the team who will answer some of your questions. Please keep them coming.
Okay, so if you go into InvestorAi, you would have seen our new homepage. This was launched a week or 10 days ago. So the first, it's your dashboard, and one feature that I think most people haven't worked out. You see these three dots at the right. If you hold your finger on them, you can move position, and then you just drag it up and down. So you can change the order if you like. Okay, so this is just something interesting. So you see wisdom of crowds, you can see most viewed, best performer, latest insight. You can see your watch list. This comes from your active monitoring list if you actively monitor anything. The red dot means there is an insight on this stock, and in some cases there is no insight on the stock. Now here, so for instance, Reliance Industries I'm tracking, but there is no insight. But if I look at Baidu, which I am also tracking, there is an insight. Then there are shortcuts, there is a test drive, and so on and so forth. So we talked about good fundamentals, right? The best way to start is go to play. Okay, and if, since I was talking about Reliance Industries, let me just take Reliance, and I can put in Reliance, and then it compares Reliance to the Indian market. So the red shape is Reliance, the gray shape is the market, and the larger the shape, the better it is. So you should remember. Am I frozen here?
No, Akshay. Yeah, now you are. Yep, I think, yeah. Akshay.
It's worse than market because it has a lot of debt.
Akshay, we lost you for a few seconds. So could you just a few seconds? Yes. We just lost you for a second.
My apologies. I think there's something with the connection. So what this chart is telling us that Reliance is much better than market on valuation and future outlook. So in relative terms, it's a cheaper stock. It is equal to market on analyst consensus view and slightly worse on maximum drawdown, historic performance, and capital structure. Wherever you see a question mark, if you click on it, then it will show you what you're seeing on the page and some definitions. By the way, somebody asked me about, could we have a dictionary in InvestorAi? Well, there is already a dictionary. So if you see the top right, there are 4 squares. That is the menu button. If you go there and you click on glossary, you will see all the terms. Now, we don't call it dictionary, we call it glossary, but you click on any term, you will get an explanation of what it means. So there is a bunch of technical terms that are easily understandable, and you can sort of just look at what it means. So this is quite a handy little thing that I wanted to show you. So coming back to play, you can compare Reliance to a competitor. Now, who is Reliance's competitor? I have no idea. But let us assume it is Amazon, and I want to do an international comparison. So I can do that also. And as you can see, Amazon scores very poorly on valuation. So it's a much more expensive stock than Reliance in relative terms. About equal on future outlook and historic performance, Amazon is much better on maximum drawdown, i.e. less volatile, and capital structure, and analysts like Amazon better than Reliance. Now, it may not be a fair comparison, but you can have fun with it. And the more you use it, the more the app learns about you. So that's quite important. Coming to the algos themselves, if you take Alpha 330, for instance, and I can say, show me all gainers, or I will tell you what, there is a stock I want to show you. If I go to wisdom of crowds, there is one particular stock that's really interesting here. I don't know how to pronounce this, Hikal or Hikal, but let's say Hikal. So Hikal was the insight was generated on 30th of March, okay, from Alpha 330. So it has been around for 24 days. Since then, it has generated a 43% return. This is incredible. Okay, so this is really, really strong. And the signal has kind of moved up and down. Now there is no signal. So this is not the time to buy Hikal. Okay, but what I want to show you is the really cool new feature that I talked about. So if you look at the top, the bottom left corner, you will see a trade button. If you click on that, what that does is it takes you to your brokerage account and you can buy instantly. Okay, so there are 9 brokers listed here. There is a 10th one called Alice Blue that is on the list. We will keep adding them, as we go along. But between these 10, if you have your brokerage account with one of the 10 brokers, you can go directly into it. So let us say you have account with Upstocks, you can go there. Okay, market close. Fine, sorry, but let's try somebody else. Because and then you can, it's literally very, very, very easy kind of stuff. So if I say Access Direct, so Access says continue with Access Direct, and then it wants me to sign in. Now I don't have an account with Access Direct, so I will simply cancel and get out. So this is a really handy feature. If you like something on the app, you can buy immediately. Okay, so it takes you to your brokerage account. We don't handle your money. Your money is still with your broker, but we just direct you there in a very easy way. The other thing you should remember when you're, your fundamentals between play and between what you see in the algos, it will tell you a lot about fundamentals. If you come out of this and you look at value investing. So value investing, if I just pick any stock, this is a NASDAQ company called Zumiez. So it tells you the valuation, but it also shows you how the stock compares with the rest of its peer group. So it's ranked 70, so that's very good. Capital structure 99, fantastic, couldn't be better. Consensus view, pretty good. Valuation, really great. Future outlook, all right. So this is a very standard analysis. Anytime you want to investigate more, just click on Live Info at the bottom. You go to Google Finance, and then you can look at all the metrics and do any further research that you want. So assuming you understand the stock, InvestorAi will help you a lot in terms of figuring out whether it's a good company or not. The last thing is timing. And for timing, I will tell you that the best way to look at timing is active monitoring. So if you go to any particular stock, you take Yum China Holdings, which is an American company, you can say monitor. The moment you say monitor, the machine will start to monitor it for you and it will alert you whenever there is an insight. Okay, now in case of Yum China, there is an insight. But if I go to the home page and I look at my watch list, okay, these are the stocks that I'm tracking. Now, I talked to you about Reliance. There is no insight at the moment. So if I click right now, it will tell me that there is a historical insight, but currently, abhi kuch nahi hai. But if I go to Tesla, now Tesla, there's an expected annual result. So I'm saying, fine, don't want to look at that. But if I look at State Street Corporation, there is a live insight. So this helps you with the timing question. Again, it is not perfect. Of course, it doesn't actually tell you now act or don't act. So because it is not your advisor, that is entirely up to you. Okay. So let me stop here. I would now like to welcome, just stop sharing this. I would like to now welcome Mr. Sriram Parmeshwaran. He's an active user of InvestorAI. He's really a amazing individual. He is a certified executive coach. He is the founder. He has been the founder and CEO of Life Maximum. He has headed many large companies, and he's now a full-time volunteer in the Isha Foundation in Coimbatore. I had the pleasure to speak to him yesterday. He's an inspirational individual. He has such a passion to learn. And I was talking to my team, Sriram, just after I spoke to you. And I said, you are the perfect new age investor. You're not 30 years old, neither am I, but you have the thirst to learn, you have the passion to learn, you have the desire to, do new things. And that is really, what makes our purpose in coming up with an Investor AI. We feel very happy when we see people like you. So welcome to Investor AI Academy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the honor of it's an honor for me to have enabled me to present my views to all of you. So thank you for having me.
So Sriram, I have only 3 questions for you. The first question is going to be about your style. The second question is going to be about how do you find good stocks? I've been talking about how I look for it and how you can use InvestorAI. But aap kaise karte ho? And the third question will be that how do you use InvestorAI in your own investment journey? Okay. So let's start with the first one. How do you classify yourself as an investor? What is your investment style?
See, my participation in the stock market is very recent. I've largely been an investor only with mutual funds, and the last 1 year or so is when I try to start doing investments primarily in the stock market myself, thanks to a lot of time available on my hand. But I'm more of an investor and not a trader at all. So I look for fundamentally good stocks and increase my wealth and increase the corpus by investing in good companies. Now, how I have been going around identifying good companies is based on my 30 years of work experience. I've come across companies, either I've studied them well, or I understand their business pattern, or I know them for having good governance values, etc. So it's kind of a kindred feeling of these are good companies to be partnering with. So I try to identify them. I've done a reasonable bit of study. I don't study all their annual reports and balance sheets, etc. But they are good companies doing 2 fundamentally good things. A, they are doing a fair amount of good for humankind. And next, they are doing a lot of good for the planet. They should not do anything which goes against these 2, in my views. If they are doing anything of that, they are off my radar. So I have identified around 15 to 20 companies, and in the known world, they're largely in the auto engineering space, pharma space, banking and finance, and a little bit in the IT services space. So these are the 4 domains that I invest in. And I've been only looking at 15 to 20 companies. Now, I've been wanting to expand this to areas to which my domain knowledge doesn't extend. That's why I've used InvestorAI. For example, if I want to get into the new age, technologies, etc., for which I love using them, but I don't know much about how that business works. And if an insight comes from InvestorAI, it prompts me to study that company a little bit more. And therefore, InvestorAI helps me expand my universe set. So if I've got 20 companies today, 4 or 5 that I've added over the last 2-3 months is largely because of the insights that came to me from InvestorAI. I was not tracking those companies earlier. So in one way, InvestorAI helps me expand my universe set of 15-20 good companies, because I know that I cannot physically track many of them and I cannot understand more of them. So when an insight comes to me, and I largely use only the value investing insight or the Alpha 330. I've not gone so much into swing trading at all right now. But all of these insights, if they make sense to me, then I do a little bit of reading on my own before I decide to take a position in any of them. And if they do seem interesting, then I make a investment in that. So that's what it's been doing. And a couple of them have really helped me. And the companies which I was never tracking before, but thanks to InvestorAI, I came to know about that company. I bought something and I made my money. I recovered all the investment of my 1-year subscription to InvestorAI and much more than that. So, it gave me more confidence in terms of, saying that this algo works. And I would not have the computing power or the ability to do that myself. And thanks to Investor AI, now I have that as an additional tool to supplement my own knowledge or my own reading of the market. And that's how I use Investor AI. So I won't call myself a trader as much, and I will call myself more as an investor. But I'm now tempted to get into a little bit of trading with the assurance that I have some good technical analysis behind me. And that's where Investor AI comes in. So hopefully over the next 2-3 months, I will start making some trades, possibly some intraday trades. And that's in the future. I'm not doing that right now, but I'm enabling Investor AI to give me that confidence that yes, you can take a position and you can go across and do that. So that's what I do.
No, thank you, Sriram. That was so beautifully put. You said in 3 minutes what I took 20 minutes to say. That you study the stocks, you understand them, then you track them, and when you get a signal, that is a good time to buy them. And I was going to ask you that have you made money, but you've answered my question that you have done well. And I hope you not just recover your cost of subscription, but do much better than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, and how do you use Investor AI just to look at the signals? Do you use it for some other purpose, or
right now only to identify the signals? I track these things more on the value investor and the Alpha 330. I look at, then I supplement that with my own research separately. So I only look at this thing for the insights. I have not done anything else. And of course, a little bit of the play thing I've done, on my free time, just to see how it compares with the industry or with the competitor, etc., just to supplement my own trading. Rightly priced. What is the common consensus of the larger community out there? So to supplement my own feelings, am I in the right direction? I use a little bit of the play function, but largely only the insights, and I use that as a tool. And trading, of course, is a recent function I have not even tried. I do a lot on ICICI Direct or Zerodha. So hopefully I can connect to my Zerodha account directly through Investor AI now and place some orders.
Zerodha and ICICI both are connected, so you can do directly as you want. Thank you so much for your time, Sriram. Really appreciate you coming, and may the force be with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So, guys, I hope you heard Sriram, and I not only like him because he said good things about Investor AI, but he's actually a very thoughtful investor. And I promise you, we did not coach him to say anything of those things. But it's really nice to hear from a real investor. We would welcome if any of you want to join me on any of the webinars in the future and share your experiences of using Investor AI, of selecting stocks, using the algos. Please feel free. Please write to Shruti or support@bridgeweave.com saying you'd like to do it. And we would be very happy to invite you, because I think it's hearing from real users of Investor AI is far better than me talking about what the product does. So I have 2 questions before we start bringing this to a close. And after that, we'll open up for Q&A. So, then you can stay and we'll be happy to answer questions. So my first question is that we have received a lot of feedback from many of you from previous webinars that you would like to be part of a Investor AI community. So we have created a WhatsApp group. If you would like to join, so I don't want to automatically put you in the group because, it's your phone number. And if you don't want to share it with people, that is your choice. But if you would like to join this group, please put your name on the chat forum and we will add you in. But let me just find out how many of you would like to do so. Okay, everybody. Well, it's only a few people, but good. If you'd like to join the forum, please put your name. We have your phone numbers and we will add you in. We will never add anybody who does not want to be added. So we will respect your privacy and be discreet about that. But please do join, because this is not our forum. This is your forum. I would want all of you to share ideas, all of you to share and learn from each other, because that's the best way of learning. Please remember, word of caution that Shruti has told me to say to everybody, no politics, no COVID, no religion, no films, no silly forwards. This is just investment, guys. Okay, so that is one. And the last question I have is, please tell us how you liked this webinar. Please rate it on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is bad. Sorry, the other way around. 1 to 4. 4 is bad. 1 is good. And then if you have any suggestions on how we can make it better, please do put them in the chat forum. And we will incorporate as many as we can the next time around. So,
sorry.
Thank you very much.
One suggestion from most people is they want Telegram channels instead of WhatsApp. It's been reflected by like at least 6-7 of us. We'll consider the same.
Okay, we will look at it. Yeah. So if it is Telegram, then we will add you to Telegram. I'm assuming that you're, that you would still want to join the Telegram channel. Very happy to do that. Okay, thank you. With that, let me bring this to a close. I will pass on to Shruti, and after she finishes, we will take questions. So, and then please stay, or you can go as you wish. Very, very happy to take as many questions as you have. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks, Akshay. I think I'm going to wrap it up in a minute. So, Apurva, Vignesh, Mahendra, Shalon, Prakar, we're going to take your questions. Just a quick set of, just want to talk to you about an offer, a special offer we have. So team, can I just have that slide up? For all those who have, attended this webinar, and every Saturday, those who actually attend our webinar, we have a special, discount that we have just for you. The prices are up on the screen. And as you can see, the monthly one, try with us, and that's what Sriram was also talking about. We know that you will make up whatever you do end up spending on a subscription. So we have Domestic Pro and Global Pro. Domestic Pro is one that gives you India as the market, but with all algos. And Global Pro is, we have 20 plus markets that we cover, and there is a way for you to sit in India and actually invest in markets outside. We had done a webinar on that. So if you come into our website, or even click inside the app and look for the webinars that have happened in the past, you will actually see how to invest in international markets. But if you want to just start off, then Domestic Pro, that plan is really what you can start with. Secondly, you can reach us on YouTube as well. We have a channel. That's where you can see all of the webinars at one shot. But very quickly, if you are registered with us already on our app, very simple, go into your home screen, click on menu, you'll see subscriptions, put in our discount code, and boom, you will have the special offer that's already going to work for you, and you'll get it at that price. If you are not registered with us, then please visit our website, which is investor.co.uk, and click on register, and you will have a place to put in the discount code. For us, the discount code today is WBNR09, and that's it. It's very simple. It's just 2 clicks. So we hope to see a lot of you there. We see a lot of you coming in once our webinars are usually over. So Akshay, I'm going to stop here. Any other questions, put it on the chat. But I'm going to start with a very first question that we've got, Akshay, and I'm going to take one. Just going to take one from Shalon. She says, in Alpha 330, what exactly does strength of the alpha signal mean?
Okay. So the signal itself is the probability of the stock delivering a 3% return in the next 30 days. Okay. So when the signal crosses a certain threshold, we then release it as an insight. Now, of course, every day the price will change, the market conditions will change, and we recompute the signal every day for every stock, actually. So it's a lot of work in the background. And every day you would expect, signal moves up and down, and we show you the signal. So if the signal is low, then it is probably not a great time to buy the stock. Typically, when the signal is the highest, is the best time to buy. If you remember the Hikal example, it had generated 43% and the signal was really down. So once it has generated 43%, जो करना था कर दिया यार, उसके बाद तो थोड़ी. So you have to, of course, you have to follow it up a little bit with your common sense also. So look at the price, look at how it has moved, look at the last. So what I do when I see a signal, I immediately go and look at how the price has moved in the last 6 months, because beyond that it's a little vague. Then I look at the 52-week high and 52-week low. If the signal is being generated at very close to 52-week high, then I'm slightly skeptical about the signal. If it is somewhere in between, then I'm a lot more positive, because if it has touched a certain price, touching it again is possible. If it has never touched a certain price, then that looks hard. So I'll give you an example. Recently, Amazon ka ek signal aaya. And I have always wanted to buy Amazon, but I always thought that $3,000 too expensive. So, on the signal, Alpha 330 showed a signal. So I called Sarthak. I said, Sarthak, is this right? And he looked at it and said, yes, of course it's right. It's Alpha 330. It's generally right. So I actually bought Amazon. And it has done 8% since then. So even on a very high price, it actually went up. So, but you have to satisfy yourself. That's what I'm saying. I hope that
connected to that one, connected to the same Hikal example, Joy had actually asked, does AI tell us when to exit the stock after initial recommendation? I just wanted to remind him about our next webinar.
I saw that question. I wanted to answer it. Thank you, Joy, for asking. You're not the first person. A lot of people have said that all these things, all you tell us when to buy, you tell us when to sell. Now, so not giving advice is a Lakshman Rekha for us. We will not cross that. So telling you when to sell is giving you advice. But giving you signals on when you can interpret when to sell is possible. We are working on something. Be patient with us. We are constantly innovating. We are constantly looking at new things. And in fact, as Sarthak and I have decided that this weekend we will apply our brains and figure out how to sort of actually come up with something really useful for you, from a sell point of view. It will not be, okay, sell now. It will never be that, because that's just not what we do. But you will see something. I think we broadly know what we want to do. We have to just get into a little more detail. So think of this as coming soon. It's like Iron Man 4 has now been approved. It has not released yet, so it will come soon.
Yeah, come soon, and we'll also have a special webinar.
And we will tell you. If
you're
on the webinar, you'll be the first to know.
Great. Mahindra has a question. Please explain something about bullish and bearish in fundamental.
Sarthak, would you like to take that?
Yes. So, this is again corresponding to style. There are different categories of investors with different styles. As in some, like, we heard our dear Sriram speak about, he's an investor. He looks at companies, special situations. Then there are the genre of investors who look at balance sheet numbers, stuff, fundamentally they're good, margins, revenue estimates, EPS going up. So what we do is what we have done is we have taken like lots and lots of filters in terms of the most widely followed in the world in terms of fundamental investing styles. And then what we do is we run our entire universe across 21 exchanges and markets through those fundamental filters to identify which companies will actually show up in these, right? So, and every time they do so, what has been the investment return? So, typically, let's just take an example, like take a Coal India or, REC or, the public sector undertakings. They'll always have they'll always be not valued at 35 or a 25 PE. Might always be at 8 or a 10 PE, but they always belong in that category. So the backtesting returns there should suggest you. So if there is a company there and you see that, okay, that's been triggered as a, high margin and, breakout in EPS, etc., then just look at the backtesting returns. If the backtesting returns are consistent, that's what you're looking for in fundamentals. And again, it's not one of our ML driven signals, but it's more of trying to accommodate a fundamental trading style.
Thanks, Sarthak. I think that answers him. We have one from Vignesh. He says swing trades are notified during market hours or the potential scripts are updated end of day. When does that happen?
Sarthak?
So all the swing trades are, in the app before 9 a.m. And that's for one reason we don't do intraday signals yet, and yet is a big word there. So please, if you want to look at the swing insights, the best time to look at is 9 to 9:15. And I've had a few suggestions on the chat where they say, why don't you generate it at 7, 8? We'd love to, but sometimes we don't have that data coming from our vendors. And also, we try to look at every other data point before opening, because ultimately it's your money and you want to be safe with it. So, we just try to be absolutely sure. So that's why.
So that answers Sriram as well. He wanted to know, is it possible to have the insights between 7 and 8 IST? And I think you just answered that, Sarthak.
I think the constraint is timing when we get the data feed, rather than our own process is very automated. So once the data comes in, the machine goes boom. But the data has to come in.
Question from Prakhar Akshay. When are we covering crypto signals?
Well, Prakhar is not off my radar. It is very much on my radar, but for now it is not there. But maybe that's an offline conversation. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Akshay, we have covered most of them, which we wanted to take here because the rest got answered in the chat. If there is any more,
take one more, and then we can let everybody go for lunch.
Vipin, do you have a question? We see that you have raised your hand. Okay, yeah, you've also covered this, Akshay. Apur also had one around, can we get a little deeper dive into the logic involved into the algorithms? This will enable us to trust the algorithm more. Being an analyst, I want to use this app for signals and monitoring more and not specifically for the recommendations.
Yeah. So, Vipin, we have had previous webinars dedicated to an individual algo. They are all available on our YouTube playlist, so you can watch them there. And in the future also, we will be covering them, covering each algo. So we'll have algo-specific session. And we will, in addition to explaining what the algo does and how to use it, we will also go into a little bit of a technical methodology in terms of how it happens, what data we use, how do we calculate accuracy, so that you start understanding and therefore trusting the information that we portray. But for now, please, take it from me that it is massively important to us that the information that is put out is correct and is valid. The production piece is automated completely, but there is a QA and the QC piece that we do personally. We check, we really take great care to make sure that we look at all outlier numbers and stuff. And sometimes we do exclude them where we believe that we need to do some more checking. So watch this space. Please join us on a algo specific webinar, and hopefully we'll be able to answer all your questions.
Actually, let's take one more because I think this one we also get sometimes in support as a question. This is Joy asking us, I couldn't find Subex Limited in play option. Is it only certain stocks listed here, that they come up when he uses the play feature?
Sarthak? Yeah, sorry.
So, look, we have a hard market cap filter because beyond that, we do not get estimates data. So, play, as you can see, it's a multi-factor rank-based approach. If you do not have estimates data, then, it's not a fair comparison. So, and again, we did a master refresh yesterday. So a lot of those companies that should have actually had estimates would now be available on the app. And if it is not there, we are also looking at a fix where we, talk about a median number and disclose, but that requires a screen change. So that'll take some time. So for now.
Yeah, but I don't think Subex meets the market cap cutoff. because below that, below that level, Joy, sometimes information is not available, as Sarthak says. And then we don't want to put our own estimates. This is very objective data. So then we don't have that stock.
And it's very simple for us. A signal on Tesla, a signal on Subex, it's the same thing. It's a signal. So why not look at quality data to generate it, and look at half fragmented data that's not available to generate signals. So,
all right, Shruti, I think we should bring it to a close.
Yeah, we had last two, but that will come up in the next one as well. So Vipin, this one on your momentum stocks. It's already possibly answered in our previous webinar on momentum investing, but I'm sure it'll come up in the next one again. So let's please come back and join us for that one. But thank you everyone, and look forward to seeing you again next week, same time, 12:30. Stay safe. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you.